Hello? Hello? Where have you been these last 5 minutes? Okay, it's good. I figured people are okay with a few minutes. It's when it gets to be too many that people get anxious and then they get mad. So I don't want that. Thanks for coming to the show. I have a few things for you today. Kansas is suing Pfizer over misleading advertising, it seems like. So that's news. That's the big news that I put in the title. So I'll show you that. I'll show you like a press conference about that. I've made a vow with myself not to look at the price of cryptocurrency all day because I think I might be slowing it down. So I need to let it go. But Bitcoin is still doing well. And I'll tell you about some other stuff too. I have weird videos from around the internet. I have Jeffrey Sachs, a number of clips. We are in Ukraine. They fired British missiles now too. So there's more reason for nuclear war. I have to figure out what we're going to do if we're all going to die. Because I guess they're telling us it's a real possibility. People are saying we're all going to die as a result of this Ukraine action. So the British went in on it with us. So they have something called, I think they're called Storm Shadow. They have kind of cool names for some of these rockets. They launched some of those into Russia today too. And Russia said that if we did that, well, apparently we have to operate the machines that shoot those rockets, the American ones. So it's literally Americans shooting at Russia, which does seem kind of wrong. So that's going on. I'll show you some Russian propaganda, which I find funny. Show you some more AI video. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. Are you guys doing okay? Should I not ask you that? You ready? Okay, it's only been 2.5 minutes. That's not long enough. Normally I ramble for a little bit longer. It's too early for the intro to the show. So what else is in the news? I have like a little Matt Gaetz. There's still that. There's still the Trump thing. He's still going to be president, apparently. Oh, Matt Gaetz. Yeah, that's what happened. There's some kind of there's some kind of evidence that came out about Matt Gaetz. Something about there being Venmo receipts to a young woman. I'm not sure if she's underage though. So I'll show you that. Yeah, and people are saying he could still get confirmed. But it's him making payments for travel and other things. I'm going to look up what evidence there is. Payments from Gaetz to women. Federal inquiry traced payments from Gaetz to women. So people are going to have to decide. And he's married too, I believe. That's what I heard. Payments from him to women. So he might have been doing hookers. They have Venmo payments, drug-fueled sex parties. So I'll read you that. I'll read you what the New York Times says about it. So, and then I'll play you some like classic clip of him. Trump really wants Matt Gaetz to be in there because he thinks that he has the right kind of backbone to like do the kind of damage that needs to be done in the DOJ. So president is still standing behind him. I don't know. I think Kennedy's definitely going to go through because I think Democrats actually like him. And we're going to have a real conversation about vaccines. It seems like there's this lady, Jillian Andrews, Jillian something or other, talking about the hepatitis vaccine. So people are like really doing some research now. Here, let me see. What's her name? Jillian Michaels. So I have that where people are talking about the vaccines. So, and I wonder, yeah, I don't know. Like now that we're not in the middle of a pandemic, I don't know if YouTube has the same kind of rules. Pretty sure my channel probably got censored by the government when I started talking about vaccines back in the day when it was very sensitive. They didn't want anything that would cause vaccine hesitancy, even if it was true. So I had a lot of true stuff. And they got rid of my channel. I'm pretty sure that's because of government pressure. So we're not going to have that this time, which is good. Or yeah, there shouldn't be any of that this time. This time we get free speech. But last time Trump was president, we didn't have free speech then at all. It's like worse. So, but he's committed apparently this time. So we're going to get free speech under this administration apparently. So we'll see. We'll see. I haven't gotten a strike for a long time on YouTube. What can I show you guys? What should I show you to start? I'll play you my intro. Now we can go. Jedi says, let's fucking go. Okay, let's fucking go. Intro. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yeah, or just stuff I find online that I think you might be interested in, pretty much. I don't know what's real. I have no idea. You guys? Not sure. When you give super chats, I assume you're more likely to be human because you have access to money. They don't give robots that yet because they might get confused. Thank you, Job for 9. $5 super chat says your channel did get censored. We are here for the return of the Lift the Veil. I'm even wearing my Lift the Veil shirt today. It says Lift the Veil, never normal. I don't know if we have it. I don't think we have any left in stock in this style, but I think we have the baseball jersey. So, all right, let me show. I'll show you some AI video to start. We're looking at different AI videos sometimes just to see how the technology progresses and to see when we'll be replaced, or I will, from doing this. Here is AI video of Kamala Harris drinking and driving. Okay, let's see. I spin fellas, my swing quicker than Federer. I serve packing the bags bag on the regular. And I'ma tell her how she sing for me T-Pain. Your mama's hooked on the packs, I'll be selling her. I click Amazon, bang them and I'm not sing. I feel his head with the lead like a mud bang. The magazine made me lean when I walk in the drumstick, making that bang like a punk band. Hop in the cab, I'm banging the crossword. Head in the west and I'm banging the push bird. Couple of cans and a puff on me death stick. Click on my fingers, he's cutting me cough there. Ringing the bow bells, bringing the wet
website. I'm flinging the drive-through, bringing the cassette. Belling me non-stop, sending the lights there. Hop in my drop top, I'm running a man there. Mr. Big Bucks, I'll be looking at business. Stressed to kill, mama got me up on a hit list. Pole position, had a fella running the distance. I'll be banging, giving the triplets. The bigger the bag, the bigger the butt crack. The bigger the chance the birds up in my contacts. The figure's a big deal, a pen on the contract. Serve me up, baby, give a tip on me top end. And I'll be whipping a wire, popping a Benson. Pushing a pack, the full stack like a benching. Giving the fish scale, they're sliding up a penguin. Flipping the chick on my bills, why fuck a pension. Slow mo vision, I've been puffing the peace pipe. Selling free fires to the fiends by the seaside. I'ma tear lines in the seams of my Levi's. With a stack figure, the Nicki Minaj we earn. And I'ma tell her how she sing for me to pain. Your mama's hooked on the packs, I'll be selling her. I click Amazon, bang 'em and I'm a nothing. I feel it's up with the lead like a mukbang. The magazine made me lean when I walk in the drumstick, making that bang like a pump bang. Hop in the cab, I'm banging the crossword up. Heading the west and I'm banging the push murder. Couple of cans and a puff on me death sticker. Click on my fingers, he's cutting me cough there. Ringing the bow bells, bringing the website. I'm flinging the drive-through, bringing the cassette. Belling me non-stop, sending the lights there. Hop in my drop top, I'm running a man there. Mr. Big Bucks, I'll be looking at business. Stressed to kill, mama got me up on a hit list. Pole position, had a fella running the distance. I'll be banging, giving the triplets. The bigger the bag, the bigger the butt crack. The bigger the chance the birds up in my contacts. The figure's a big deal, a pen on the contract. Serve me up, baby, give a tip on me top end. And I'll be whipping a wire, puffing a Benson. Pushing a pack, the full stack like a benching. Giving the fish scale, they're sliding up a penguin. Flipping the chick on my bills, why fuck a pension. Slow mo vision, I've been puffing the peace pipe. Selling free fires to the fiends by the seaside. I'ma tear lines in the seams of my Levi's. With a stack figure, the Nicki Minaj we earn.
I actually don't know how they do it. It must take a long time to generate the right kind of AI stuff. What do you guys think? Do you think it's ready for prime time? I think what's his name said it's not going to replace actors. Who said that? The guy from Good Will Hunting. Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck said it's not going to replace actors anytime soon, but it makes special effects cheaper. I even have AI built into this system. It can give me an AI touch-up on here on my face. Have you ever seen that? If it was more advanced, it would be able to give me like a cat mask and stuff, like cat ears and stuff, which would be really cute. Okay, there's this thing called Blue Sky. Apparently liberals are going to Blue Sky. I don't know why I show you guys this stuff. This is an original song about being a Democrat.
I will do right to my loved ones, to my community. I will just try to live with passion, supporting unity. I will not change for anyone, won't cave to bigotry. I will find warmth, throw down to hope even beneath the sea. There's an ocean, we are the children, down beneath these crashing waves of hate. There's a mad storm that hangs over our heads, destroying faster than we can create. I've been through this enough times before to know I'll just suffocate holding my breath. Will we always be so divided? I'm sure we will even after our deaths. I can do right to my loved ones, to my community.
That's just great. Everybody can be famous.
Try to live with passion, supporting unity.
All right, good enough.
I will not change for anyone, won't care.
Balding, long hair. Somebody said that's on Blue Sky, the new Democrat Twitter. But they say now Twitter is evenly balanced. It's just that it used to be mostly Democrats on Twitter. Now they say it's evenly balanced. Oh, it's called X now. Dummy. On X. Now it's like 48-47 or something. It used to be like 65% Democrats on Twitter. So it's actually good. It should be a fair and balanced conversation. And we would love to see posts like this on X. It's amazing. Anybody can post video now. And then anybody can grab the video and post it for everybody else. Libs of TikTok was a pioneer in taking TikTok videos I don't know how she did it. She must have made it so that crazy shit would show up in her feed all the time. I don't know. When she first started. Now I don't know. Now probably people send her videos. Once you get famous, it's easier to do research because people just send you stuff. So we watch TikTok videos. We watch TikTok so you don't have to. There's this crazy thing going on in England. Yeah, okay. Since I told you about it. There's this crazy thing going on in England where they want to have an inheritance tax on farmers. Right now, you're allowed to pass down your farm without an inheritance tax. And Jeremy Clarkson, who bought a farm, and there's a TV show on, I watch it on Amazon. I think it's on Amazon. Called Clarkson's Farm. And it has commercials. You guys have Amazon Prime? It's really annoying that it has commercials, even though you're paying like a decent amount just to have Amazon Prime. I don't even know if they give you an option. Anyway, Clarkson's Farm. It's on the UK. He has a farm and he tries to make it profitable and runs into all kinds of problems and stuff. And there are hijinks, so forth, animals, and so forth. Anyway, now they're trying to do this inheritance tax so that farmers have to lose their farms. They can't pass it down to their family, basically. Because when you have a tax and you have to sell the property to pay the tax or sell off part of it or what have you. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to like literally put farmers out of business, and a business is not that profitable anyway. Anyway, I'll play you Jeremy Clarkson's. Oops, that's weird. Play you Jeremy Clarkson's speech about it today. Oh yeah, I have that here. So yeah, they're trying to screw with people in the UK, and that's not including the free speech stuff.
Okay, so as we all know, everyone down there, you know a tractor, £200,000 for a medium-sized one, a combine, £500,000. All the equipment costs a fortune, and if you try to price what you're selling to accommodate that, there's just a lot of moaning. You get people saying, well, I shouldn't pay that. I can get a chicken from abroad. Yeah, you can. But it's so full of chlorine, it tastes like a swimming pool with a beak. And then you've got the environmentalists endlessly shouting at you, oh, your cows, they're altering the composition of the gases in the upper atmosphere, and your fertilizers ruining the trouty freshness of our streams and rivers. And I know sometimes you just think, what's the point? We're just trying to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's just this endless whinging, and there's no money in it. And the regulations. Some of you down there will know what I'm on about when I say we got a lot of GS4 this year on the farm. And we were told, oh, the sheep will love that. No, they don't. They're standing looking at it in the same way that a 5-year-old looks at an olive. They don't want to eat it. And so we have all of this complication and all of this cost. And there's very, very little money in it. Very little money, as you know. And then we got the budget. Now, I know a lot of people all across the country in all walks of life took a bit of a kick on the shin with that budget. You lot got a knee in the nuts. And a light.
Not exciting enough. It's not exciting enough video. I have somebody because we're on the subject of the UK. But anyway, terrible thing happening in the UK. The UK is under attack. And people are being arrested for Facebook posts. Here's one that's pretty crazy from somebody who posted a flag on Facebook, getting arrested. Someone with some number of followers too. In the UK, they're asking for somebody to come and like invade their country. That's what they'd like. They'd like a friendly invader to like take over their government and save them and free them. Just like the Ukrainians were happy to be freed by the Nazis. But they freed them from, So that's what in the UK they're asking for, so that they can have free speech.
If you're refusing to do that, it's not necessary to ask you those questions. No, it's not going to have to arrest you in all
Oh, you got to listen to this.
Which says what? When you post something that causes gross offence or of a menacing character, which causes a person anxiety. Is that what it says? Yes, it does. How is a flag grossly offensive? What I'll do, sir.
Can you believe that? That causes offense. That's it. It just has to basically cause offense to somebody. It causes anxiety. If you post something that causes somebody anxiety, you get arrested. Apparently. I can't believe it's real, but apparently it is.
I'm going to share it with my 30,000 followers right now. Ready? No, it's not. I'm not. He's not under arrest. You're not arresting. You were not arresting him at all. You're live on Facebook. You arrested him. You're arresting him. You're arresting all. You're arresting the leader of the party, and you're arresting the leader of the self-confident law.
There you go. So that's legit. That's happy in the UK. I have something else. I have a guy singing a song about it. Play that. This is a protest song.
The UK's fucked up and there's no one coming over to save me. Elon Musk is trying to beat me, he starts crazy. All that we want is our borders closed, but all that we got is you, Edwards and close. If I speak my mind, then I am alright. I guess I better pack my bags, cause I'm fucking up over to Poland, where the streets are safe, and you're not here to lock me up in jail over a comment I put on Facebook. I guess I kinda like the way you push me away. I try and see a doctor, but my time is just wasted. I'm not being funny, but where are the kids? No women inside, just bet on those chips. Stop giving them money and sort out our shit. I guess you'd rather make more friends like Jimmy and Phil over in Poland. They keep their streets safe, and you're not here to lock me up in jail over some comments I left on Facebook. I guess I kinda like the way you push me away.
There you go. That's good. A feel-good song about going to Poland, where it's, I think, all white people. I think. They say they keep the streets safe. That's what they say about Poland. So I have that news from the UK. Thank you. Brian M says we fought the wrong enemy. Very controversial. General Patton says that, you say. We fought the wrong enemy. That would be in the big war, or the last big war. Do you think we're ever going to have, do you think there will be a World War III? We haven't had a major conflict for a while between big nations. You think we will? I want to know. I want to know how soon we're all going to die, if that's what's going to happen. Or if the aliens will just stop. I mean, that's maybe why the aliens are here. Didn't they first show up, or we first started seeing them in World War II, the Foo Fighters? So they were watching the war then, and they can disable nukes and stuff. are aliens actually someone from the future? If we don't have much time left, is it worth it to invest in Bitcoin and MicroStrategy? Or does money matter? We were having this conversation before, but then are things more meals any like more satisfying because you're about to die? I want to know. In the movies, it looks like food tastes good after you kill somebody. That's what they make it look like in the movies. In True Romance, he has some burgers after he kills some people. It says they're the greatest burgers ever. And the same pretty much in Pulp Fiction too, kind of like in Pulp Fiction. So what's that about? Okay, I have more news out of the UK, which is just like DEI news. It's British because it's about a car manufacturer there. The Jaguar just got a new head of brand strategy, and they did a new commercial. It's kind of wild. So people are saying they're going to lose customers because of that.
And at Jaguar, we're passionate about our people, and we're committed to fostering a diverse, inclusive, and unified culture that is representative not only of the people who use our products, but in a society in which we all live. A culture where our employees can bring their authentic selves to work. And we're on a transformative journey of our own, driven by a belief in diversity, inclusion, creativity, policy, and most importantly, action. We've established over 15.
Oops. Sorry, I jammed up my computer. Trying to open a new tab to show you the commercial. He'll finish, I believe.
In DEI groups such as Pride, who are here tonight in the back. Thank you guys for coming. Women in Engineering and Neurodiversity Matters. We've launched major policy revisions such as transitioning at work to drive equity and support for our communities, embracing individuality as our superpower.
There you go.
And at Jaguar.
So that's them, and I'll show you the ad. That's what I was going to show you. I'll show you the ad, which people think is crazy. I think this must be it. It's actually posted by Jaguar. It's not just somebody else posting it. Yes. No cars. Mostly black people. What do you think? There's no car in the ad. And then it's it's super multi-ethnic, except it's not representative of the actual population. And certainly not representative of the population that buys Jaguars. Will people care enough? Are they going to say, oh, I'm selling my Jaguar? Maybe not. They probably don't care. They're old. Okay. So that's news out of the UK. And then I have Matt Gaetz news. Let's cover that. We'll talk about like what there is on Matt Gaetz. First, I have a video of him. People have propaganda videos just showing what he said before. So I'll show you that. This is Matt Gaetz in the past about how the DOJ targeted Trump. That's why Trump really wants Matt Gaetz, because he was really mad and stood up for Trump the whole time against the DOJ going after Trump. So this is part of that.
Allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis's office and Letitia James's office.
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. I get that.
State.
The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own
The question is whether
decisions.
you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those
If you
communications?
make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing.
They
You
will
come in here
respond
and you
appropriately.
lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't, because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't, because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased, rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction, which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
I'm going to say again, it's very clear you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over?
Say again, you're asking
Yes or no?
me, you're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the
another
dots,
court.
Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with anything you just said, but I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay, so you won't comment on it, Mr. Attorney General, but you had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
Matthew
That's
Colangelo
false.
Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets the senior role at the DOJ. And then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying that's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with the lawfare coordinated by
I'm saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he applied for a job there and got the job.
But see, you know what?
I tell you, I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you might not have had anything to do with it, but we've got this contemporaneous evidence in Mr. Pomerantz's book. So Pomerantz writes this book, which I'm sure you're aware of, where he says, we put together the legal eagles to get Trump. We got all these folks together and we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the Judiciary Committee think about attacks on the judicial process, our concern is that the facts and the law aren't being followed. A target is acquired here, Trump, and then you assemble the legal talent from DOJ, Mr. Pomerantz, and you bring everybody in to get him. And meanwhile, the judge is making money on it. The judge is making money on it, or the judge's family is making money on it for stuff that you yourself wouldn't do. You know, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to believe it. It's going to create great disruption. And I am saddened by it because, like you, I have given my life to the law. I care deeply about the law. And I think that the lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public service.
There you go. So that is why Trump really likes him. So let's see what evidence they have against Gaetz. And they're saying it's kind of mixed. Like some people are saying he's not going to get confirmed or he's going to have a hard time getting confirmed. Oh, I set a goal in the chat. People are telling me that Bitcoin is almost at 95,000. That's good. It's already working. See, I'm doing it for you. I'm not looking at the price. Even though you told me it's pumping, I'm not looking at the price so it can go higher. When I look at it, it goes up too slowly. So thank you for the updates though. See, I'm going to rely on people telling me. So maybe that'll make it more exciting and notifications on my phone instead of just staring all day. You guys have to, do you have I wonder if anybody has MicroStrategy stock. MicroStrategy stock makes Bitcoin look like gold or something. I mean, it's insane. They're just going to keep buying more Bitcoin, apparently. Okay, federal inquiry trace payments from Gaetz to women. A document prepared by federal investigators bolsters claims by women who say they were hired for sex by Matt Gaetz. But are they underaged? Federal investigators established he sent them payments on Venmo, for God's sake. Which I guess, I mean, why would anybody send anybody money that way? Why would people want their transactions to be public? I don't understand. That's a weird thing about Venmo. I'm banned from Venmo. But they make, it's like a Facebook, it's like money and Facebook combined or something. Like everybody can see what you spent money on, I guess. Federal investigators established a trail of payments from Matt Gaetz. Well, I don't know if they got these from the women directly, though. I don't know if these were public. But they can be. I know that. Federal investigators established a trail of payments from Matt Gaetz to women, including some who testified that Mr. Gaetz hired them for sex, according to a document obtained by the New York Times and a lawyer representing some of the women. The document, assembled by investigators during a 3-year sex trafficking investigation into Mr. Gaetz, is a chart that shows a web of thousands of dollars in Venmo payments between Mr. Gaetz and a group of his friends, associates, and women who had drug-fueled sex parties between 2017 and 2020. According to testimony that participants are said to have given to federal and congressional investigators. If you did drugs in the past, and people say you did drugs in the past, that's not really, they can't really get you on a crime for that. It's not a crime to have sex. It's not even a crime to pay a woman to hang out with you. And then if she has sex with you, incidentally, it says one of the girls at the parties, women and a girl who was 17 at the time, were paid for sex, according to accounts of the participants' testimony from people briefed on what they said. The document bolsters recent claims by a lawyer for 2 of the women who say they had sex with Mr. Gaetz for money. Why would they say that? I thought that's why you had sex with prostitutes, because they don't tell on you. I thought that's what prostitutes are supposed to be good at, is not telling on you. Apparently not. Wonder who got to them and how. It shows thousands of dollars in payments. Was he married at the time? But the investigation was closed by the Justice Department without any charges against him. That's what it says. So the feds investigated him. They said there was nothing. Then here it is, Venmo transaction. Here's the document. Look at that. What the hell? How many people was he sending payments to? Wow, that is a crazy web. Who's the other person? Joel Greenberg. Okay. So this guy, Joel Greenberg, from what I understand, made a plea deal where he agreed that he had sex with an underage girl, this other guy. And then I guess he agreed to turn over information that would be damaging to Matt Gaetz for whatever whatever the plea deal was or whatever. This guy, Joel Greenberg, apparently was his friend who they did drugs and did sex parties. I don't know. Do you guys have a problem with that? If he did drugs and sex parties? And anyway, Democrats like prostitution. So I don't understand that. And if a girl's, well, what are they going to do? They said apparently one of the witnesses against Gaetz says that he didn't know she was underage. He had sex with a 17-year-old. I don't even know, actually, what's the age of consent in Florida? That's the other thing. What is the age of consent in Florida? Let's see. Oh, 18. Okay. Well, other states, it's not 18. So there are some states and certainly countries where you're allowed to have sex with 17-year-olds. Certainly, like if you're in England or something. So people have to decide, was it immoral or does that mean the end for him? So he's apparently touring around with JD Vance, I think today, talking to different people in Washington at the Senate. So that's what's going on with Gaetz. Venmo payments. I heard what some of the payments said. I wonder if they have that in this article too. They have this weird web, large network of people involved in drug-fueled sex parties. I think that's what elite people get up to. I think when people get rich, they start thinking, oh, what else can I do? And they're like, oh, how about orgies? I hear they do that in Silicon Valley and other places where rich, powerful people are. Yeah, if that's what he did, if he paid him thousands of dollars for sex and then did drugs, I still think he can be attorney general. People have a right to. I mean, those laws, I think Democrats don't even like those laws, so they have nothing to complain about. They want drugs decriminalized and sex work decriminalized. So you can't sex work shame people. All right. So I have that. Let's see. I have food education. I have the thing about Pfizer getting sued. You want me to play you that? 6 minutes. See if it's interesting the whole way through. There is a super chat challenge out right now to get $5 super chats in 30 minutes. It's already been live for a second. You don't have to, but you could. You could participate. And if we reach the goal, I will praise the chat. Pirate Justin says in Texas it's 17. Yeah. See, in Texas he would have been okay. Except then you're not allowed to pay somebody for it. But they're not going to be able to prove that. They're not going to be able to prove that he paid a certain amount of money for a sex act. Because you're allowed to give people money, actually. And then they can have sex with you if they want to. So there might not be like a crime. It's a crime to do drugs, but not to have orgies. And anyway, they have to catch you doing the drugs, and then I don't even know if you get in trouble for that kind of stuff.
Thank you for being here today. We brought together this press conference to make the following announcement, and that is today Kansas is filing a civil suit against the Pfizer Corporation under the Kansas Consumer Protection Act, seeking enhanced civil monetary penalties, damages, and injunctive relief for misleading and deceptive statements made in marketing its COVID-19 vaccine. Pfizer also violated previous consent judgments with the state of Kansas, in which Pfizer promised never to use deceptive information to market their products. Kansas's case is the first of a multi-state collaboration, with Kansas being the first of 5 states to file suit. Before I go further, let me put this in context. As we all know, during the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a great deal of panic and anxiety. Many people who were elderly or who suffered from various medical conditions had already died when the vaccines became available. And when that time came, when the vaccines became available, every one of us had to make 2 decisions. Am I going to take the vaccine? And if so, which vaccine will I choose to take? And these decisions were being made in a hurry. In some ways, you could say even being made under duress. In such an environment, it is imperative that Kansans making that decision receive the truth. They needed the truth. All Americans needed the truth. And in multiple respects, Pfizer did not provide the truth. Much of the information in this lawsuit came out as a result of a FOIA lawsuit seeking information from Pfizer that still had not been made public. And it was only a result of that effort that some of the information in this lawsuit is available. I urge everyone to read the 69-page complaint that goes into great detail about the specific statements that were made and the misleading nature of those statements made to Kansas consumers. The following is a quick summary of, I think, some of the 4 most egregious examples of misleading the public in Kansas. Pfizer marketed its vaccine as safe for pregnant women. However, in February of 2021, Pfizer possessed reports for 458 pregnant women who received Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine during pregnancy. More than half of the pregnant women reported an adverse event, and more than 10% reported a miscarriage, many within days of the vaccination. Pfizer also possessed information from its own October 2020 study on pregnancy in rats, indicating that its COVID-19 vaccine was likely linked to infertility, loss of litters, and stillborn offspring. Number 2, safety relating to heart conditions like
this from the government. Used to be you couldn't say anything like this, even if it was true. So the truth is, like, it takes a while, but eventually people come around.
Myocarditis. Pfizer consistently denied any evidence of a connection or safety signal between its COVID-19 vaccine and myocarditis or pericarditis. Indeed, on January 18th, 2023, when asked whether its vaccine caused strokes or myocarditis, Pfizer chairman and CEO Alan Berla stated, quote, "We've not seen a single signal, although we have distributed billions of doses," end quote. A signal that he was referring to as a safety signal, which refers to a negative consequence. However, as Pfizer knew, the United States government, the United States military, foreign governments, and others had found that Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine caused myocarditis and pericarditis. Number 3, effectiveness regarding variants. Pfizer also claimed that its COVID-19 vaccine protected against COVID-19 variants, even though data available at the time showed Pfizer's vaccine was effective less than half the time against variants. Finally, transmission. Pfizer urged Americans to get vaccinated in order to protect their loved ones, clearly indicating a claim that Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccination stopped transmission of COVID-19. Pfizer later admitted that it had never even studied transmission of it after its recipients received the vaccine and whether they could say it stopped transmission. After making these misleading statements, Pfizer also engaged in some censorship attempts. Emails reveal that Pfizer officials coordinated with social media platforms to censor any speech critical of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine safety and effectiveness. It should also be noted that Pfizer elected not to join the federal government's vaccine development program known as Operation Warp Speed and declined that development funding. When asked about that, Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, said Pfizer did not participate in the program in order to, quote, liberate, end quote, Pfizer's scientists and to avoid government oversight of its vaccine development. He also said, quote, "They want reports. I don't want to have any of that," end quote. Referring to they, when he said they, he was referring to the federal government. Pfizer's misleading statements contributed to success in marketing its vaccine in Kansas. By February of 2024, Pfizer had delivered over 3.3 million doses of its vaccine in the state of Kansas. This accounted for over 60% of all vaccine doses given in the state of Kansas. This suit is being filed today, and as I mentioned before, it is part of a multi-state effort in which more suits may follow depending on Pfizer's reaction. But this is about marketing products to the public. As I think most people know, the federal government conferred immunity on the vaccine manufacturers for tort suits seeking damages from injuries they received, but that did not free any of the vaccine manufacturers from their obligation to not mislead the public or make deceptive statements in marketing it. So this is principally about the marketing efforts that were made and how they contradicted what the company knew.
There you go. Pretty serious. So that's a lawsuit against Pfizer. I wonder how Pfizer stock is doing. Let's take a look. Pfizer Inc. So I don't know if that news came out today. Yeah, it was down a little bit. Oh, wow. It hasn't been doing well. Pfizer stock has been going down. They must be afraid of RFK Jr. But that's the chart for Pfizer lately. Daily chart. So it's gone down a lot. And I think it's gone down a lot since they said that it was going to be RFK doing the HHS. So that's Pfizer. I think other stocks are bad too, like Eli Lilly and Company. They make drugs. Oh no, their stock is up today, but it's been down. So they're on the run from RFK. Oh, so I have another thing. Yes, I have another clip about vaccines, which I can show you. This is Jillian Michaels talking about it. And she was an actress, I guess. That's why people are listening to her.
Listen, I totally agree with you. We're going to come to the foreign policy part a little later. And I know you've got differing views there about some of the picks, but interesting to see what you said about those three. Let me go to Gillian, because specifically, you're a fitness guru, obviously, and radiating good health today, may I say so. But this whole issue of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., it's interesting. Before I interviewed him, and I've interviewed him maybe 5-6 times now, I had a kind of view of him that I'd seen from the media, that he was a complete crackpot, that he was anti all vaccines and so on and so on. And that certainly wasn't the impression I got. And actually, the more I interviewed RFK Jr., the more impressive I felt he was. He's obviously fiercely intelligent. He's extremely well read. And it seems to me he comes at this essentially from a good place. He wants more transparency, and he wants to make America a healthier place. Now, am I living in cloud cuckoo land, Gillian, or is that pretty much the reality?
That's exactly the reality. Is he eccentric? Yes, he's a little bit eccentric, but he's a good person. If you look at his history, this is a guy who sued Monsanto, DuPont, General Electric. He's an environmental attorney. His goal was to clean up chemicals out of our environment to help people not get cancer. Now, if you look at what he's promised to do, it's 3 things. So the first one, obviously, is he wants to end corruption. If you look at the revolving door between our government agencies and industry, it's terrifying. I could give you a million different examples of how scary this is, but let's go to one that everybody knows, which is OxyContin. The guy at the FDA who approved OxyContin went and took a cushy job for Purdue. There are a million examples like this. He wants gold standard research when it comes to vaccines and drugs, but particularly vaccines, because the research on those is not up to par. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. He wants human randomized control trials. So if you look at hepatitis B, which is one of the most controversial vaccines for kids, because it's specifically for people who have risky sex and use needles, and you can test the mother to find out if she's negative before you vaccinate the newborn. So why does a child even need this? Well, ironically, after the drug companies were given blanket immunity in 1986, they added 48 more doses of vaccinations to the schedule. But let's look at Hep B. What are the clinical trials that it goes through? I think your mind is going to be blown, and I encourage everybody to look this up. It's on the FDA's website. They tested 147 kids in 3 trials, and they monitored them for 5 days. Does that seem up to par? I don't think so. And then the second thing, and by the way, I could give you a million other examples just like this one. And the third thing is he was tasked with dramatically improving the health of Americans. And in case everybody's missed it, we are unhealthier than ever. 74% of adults are overweight or obese. We've all heard the diatribe. I'll run through it one more time. We're more infertile than ever. Infertility rates are going up 1% every year. Autism, 1 in 34 kids. It was like 1 in 10,000 when I was a child. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Does rock bottom have a basement? I don't think so. There's a loophole in the FDA that lets 10,000 chemicals into our food, 9,000 of which are banned in every other country of the developing world. I mean, my God, really? I think what you're seeing here is the absolute panic of big food, big farming, big pharma, and big insurance, and for good reason, because it's absolutely corrupt.
There you go. So that's Jillian Michaels. I guess she's a fitness guru, a fitness lady. So that's her talking about RFK Jr. I think, like I said, I think RFK Jr. isn't even controversial anymore. I don't think anybody's talking about him not getting confirmed. They're talking about Gaetz. They're talking about the guy from Fox News, Pete Hegseth. They're talking about those two, but not RFK Jr. RFK Jr. apparently they did some kind of poll. He has the highest likability out of all the cabinet members. People like him. So I think he's going to get through no problem. But yeah, there's more people talking on these different shows about vaccines and stuff. It's real. Okay, I have more food, drug company, cigarette company, education, in case you haven't heard it. I think it's sped up, this clip, but it's good. It's good information from the Joe Rogan show, from Callie Means.
Oh my God, this is all a bought and paid for system to promote profit. And yeah, I think Jamal talked a little bit about this, but I think it's so important because nobody realizes this. I think a lot of people listening to us years ago, it's just like, this sounds conspiratorial. And it's just like, what actually happened? And there's a couple like really important dates that happened that are historical that I think like set this structure really intentionally. The first was 1909, the Flexner Report. So literally John D. Rockefeller's personal lawyer wrote the report for Congress that basically set the standard that's the standard today for medical education. And it literally says in the binding guidelines that holistic health and nutrition and anything about interconnectedness of the body is pseudoscience. It says we need to name the condition and cut it out or prescribe it.
And what year is this?
1909.
So they're still going by the recommendations of 1909.
We still follow the Flexner Report.
A policy. I mean, and we can get the policies, but like rescinding the Flexner Report and having updated scientific education and standard of care guidelines based on what we learned since 1909 about the majesty of the interconnectedness of our body is a really good first start, because we're binded under a law to just demonstrably, just like, again, not conspiratorial. John D. Rockefeller's personal lawyer wrote this report. Why? Because John D. Rockefeller is the father of the pharmaceutical industry and created pharmaceuticals from byproducts of oil production, and was the first investor into Johns Hopkins and other major medical schools, University of Chicago, and started the modern education program for health. There were some big issues in the health, this was the Wild West, but he created Johns Hopkins and the standard of residency training as a way to silo diseases very intentionally and then prescribe his products and interventions as the top pharmaceutical maker. And the medical schools that he created were basically a distribution system to him. Okay, so you get to World War II. Up until World War II, around that time, the 1950s, 1960s, I would argue almost any medical miracle you can think of or any listener can think of was created before that time. You know, it's all acute situations, emergency surgical procedures, sanitation procedures, antibiotics to make an infection not deadly. Almost every medical miracle we can think of was something that was going to kill you right away, infectious disease. And then you take the pill or take the treatment for a finite period of time and you stop it, or do the surgery quickly and you're cured.
Those are medical miracles. And we had a lot of good things happen up until World War II. Very intentionally, the medical industry saw the birth control pill in the late 1950s, 1960s. And the birth control pill was the first pill in world history that people took for longer than a couple weeks. It was the first pill ever that is like, oh, interesting. You can actually convince someone to take a pill for years, for almost most of their life, recurring revenue. And there was a huge emphasis of the medical industry to take the trust engendered up until 1960. RFK talks about this. We didn't spend money on chronic disease management. All medicine was acute issues. Chronic disease, diabetes, obesity, that was outside the doctor's office. They saw that you could medicalize chronic conditions. Today, 95% of spending is on chronic conditions. So what do? In the 1970s, literally the Sackler family, their grandkids did the opioids. Their forebears created Valium. And 30% of women in the United States in the 1970s were on Valium. Time Magazine, Valium Nation, Mommy's Little Helper.
Yeah.
So we started creating all these psychiatric conditions. We started medicalizing heart disease. We started medicalizing all these type 2 diabetes, started creating academic research totally funded by the pharmaceutical industry, saying that type 2 diabetes isn't reversible, that it's basically genetic, heart disease, all these things, and started pilling them. Then what happened to food? Chronic disease wasn't that big of a deal in the 1970s, 1980s. You look at the graph of all chronic conditions, there's just a sharp turn in the 1980s. It's literally almost to the year of the Surgeon General report saying smoking wasn't great. So the second that report came out, Philip Morris and RJ Reynolds were two of the largest companies in the world. It wasn't like Microsoft and Google on the top companies list. It was like cigarette companies. Dopamine is a really good thing to sell, which the tech companies do now. And they used their cash files. And by 1990, the three largest M&A deals in American history, in world history, were cigarette companies buying food companies. So you had Nabisco bought by RJ Reynolds, you had Kraft and US Food and you see those graphs of all the food companies owned by like a couple companies. That was the cigarette companies. And they did two things very, very intentionally. They took over the institutions of trust to say ultra-processed food was healthy. And then they took their scientists and rigged the food itself to make it more addictive. Not to kill kids, but to make it more addictive. So you had that little food pyramid, which said ultra-processed food is great, low fat, carbs, base of the pyramid. That was constructed literally by the cigarette industry to promote their addictive products. And this weaponization of food, as I call it, it's not just like this conspiracy. Literally the cigarette industry, those two companies, Philip Morris and RJ Reynolds, were the two largest food producers in the United States. Like 50% of American food were created by cigarette companies in the 1990s. And they have got us addicted and weaponized this food, and all chronic conditions have just shot up. It's because that ultra-processed food, literally by tobacco industry scientists, hijacks our evolutionary biology. Again, you can't overeat grass-fed steak, but these food, with scientists much smarter than any of us, that's what they're doing. They're shutting off our society signals. The byproduct of this cheap addictive food, which we don't even have research for yet, is that it's sprayed with all these chemicals. It's sprayed with 10,000 chemicals that are allowed in the United States when only 400 are allowed in Europe. All these chemicals to make the food addictive, to make the food cheap, to do the monocropping. And that food is absolutely, and we don't need to wait for the research on this, these chemicals, these neurotoxins are destroying our cells, destroying our microbiome in ways we don't fully understand. So I just want to make clear to everyone, this has happened very intentionally. And it can be undone pretty quickly too, but we have to realize this isn't a conspiracy. It's true corruption that happened deliberately.
There you go. So that's the explanation. Lots to talk about food, people being poisoned by food. That's why we're so unhealthy. RFK Jr. is going to fix it in 2 years. And then we're going to have the 250th birthday of America, which is going to be apparently a year-long celebration. Okay, I have MSNBC crying over social media and basically explaining nobody watches their shows anymore. It's crazy. Apparently TV is dying. People don't watch TV. These guys do a 4-hour show every morning and nobody watches anymore. Some people watch clips to make fun of them. That's about it. So anyway, this is them talking about how people are getting their news and how TV can't compete with that. So
1 in 5 adults regularly get their news from influencers on social media. The number is even higher among younger Americans, with almost 40% under the age of 30 getting their news from those sources. According to the Pew Research Center, the social media site X remains the most widely accessed platform, followed by Instagram and YouTube.
I mean, that comes obviously for political news. And Mike, that's the challenge. You grew up in a newsroom like Gene grew up in a newsroom. I mean, that's a lot of challenge. That's a challenge for a lot of mainstream media sources is, do they make themselves relevant again? To hear 20% of adults who actually get influencers on social media.
I don't know
maybe somebody who makes baskets, and while they're making baskets, they look up and say, vote for candidate X.
I don't know how they make themselves, how we make ourselves relevant again, because we can't compete with 20-second snippets on an iPhone, walking up the street,
Morsels.
getting your entire news digest of the day in less than a minute on your phone as you're walking into the crowd with coffee in one hand and your phone in the other. I don't know how we catch up to that.
Yeah, so Gene Robinson, do you agree with Mike? Because I find this hard to believe. That younger voters would be more interested in getting an entertaining 20-second news snippet than watching a cable news show for 4 hours from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This seems like an easy choice to us here.
What is wrong with these people? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, look, if I knew the answer, I would implement it immediately, right? And reverse this. But we have to compete. I mean, the answer is we don't know how to compete with these social media basket making influencers or whatever, but we have to. And so we've got to figure out ways to do it. And maybe we make our own 20-second snippets and we meet viewers where they are. We meet news consumers where they are because they're not here. And that's the problem.
Coming up.
There you go. They're not here. They're just admitting basically now. I mean, I just heard the ratings are way down, like 50% on all these liberal shows. So I think people are still watching Fox, but people just abandoned liberal shows, and they abandoned liberal podcasts apparently too. So, all right, I'm going to wrap up the show. I think I didn't get any I got one super chat from let's see. Oh, yes. And one from Brian M. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Appreciate you guys. I'll check make sure to visit our store, Truth Revolution Clothing at truthclothing.io. We have a big sale, clearance sale for Black Friday sale going on right now. Get them while you can still get your size. Truthclothing.io. Get your Bitcoin shirts. I heard Bitcoin's pumping. I'm not looking. But I can get updates from people. Like if people tell me that Bitcoin's pumping, then that's good. And then it's good that I'm not looking. I'm going to try that. Too much time. But get your t-shirts. Get your Bitcoin t-shirts. You can get some for $5. I mean, what are you? A jerk? Are you a jerk? Or do you have shirts from our store? Ask yourself. Truthclothing.io. Go to the sale tab. All right. And make sure to like the video. Make sure to like it, please, because then it shows up in your feed and stuff. If you want a stock tip, you have MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy proved that you can buy Bitcoin and just do that. And that's your whole business. And then borrow money. I don't know I think Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. That's what I think. I think it's going to go to like 1 million, maybe next year. But MicroStrategy might go up even more. So be wise. The dollar is not going up, or Trump's not going to fix inflation. So you got to fix it yourself. All right, people. I'll see you at the next one. We do it around 4 o'clock our time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The sun goes down during the show. The lighting changes. If you noticed. All right. We'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.